moving to New York City to become a lawyer.
You can't do that. You're just a girl. You're never going to make it.
Why is it that when a woman wants to reach higher and become more independent, she is told that she will fail? Virginia Woolf once said, "As long as a woman thinks of a man, no one objects to what she is thinking." Look around the room. You see more girls than guys here, but why is it that women are looked down? Around the world, women are seen as the weaker gender. And Shakespeare, this issue was very prominent in his time, and he tried to bring attention to it by showing this gender inequality issue throughout his plays.
Shakespeare wanted to criticize social issues that were present in his time. He brought awareness to the standard roles and ideal expectations of women by characterizing them in his plays as obedient and powerless. The women in his plays are symbols of the ideal feminine values of obedience, chastity, and passiveness.
In Taming of the Shrew, Katharina was personified as a shrew, because she was aggressive and assertive. She reluctantly became a submissive housewife because of her husband's taming. Women today are expected to follow their husband's every wish, and they are expected to stay in the house cooking and cleaning for their family. Today, females are given less opportunities than men.
As it is shown in the Taming of the Shrew, Katharina had little to no rights of her life and her natural rights. She is supposed to be controlled by her husband, and she's supposed to be the nice, obedient, quiet young woman of the house. But in the end, she had to change her fiery personality to become obedient. In Act 2, Scene 2, she also said, "My mind had been as big as one of yours. My heart is great, my reason haply more. To bandy word for word and frown for frown, but now I see our lances are but straws. Our strength as weak, our weakness past compare, that seeming to be most, which indeed lace are. Then veil your stomachs, for it is no bout. Then place your hand below your husband's foot, in token of which duty, if he please, my hand is ready to do him ease."
One of the most prominent and well-known characters in Shakespeare's plays is a girl by the name of Juliet Capulet. Juliet is described as a submissive and disciplined woman her role is to marry a wealthy man by the name of Count Paris. However, when Juliet disobeys her parents and refuses to marry Paris, she is disowned by her family and abandoned by them. Juliet is a prime example of how in society, women's role is just to marry a man, even if she doesn't want to.
In another one of Shakespeare's work, Hamlet, Gertrude, the mother of Hamlet, is looked down as an unfaithful woman with no family values because she married her dead husband's brothers. When in truth, she's just the woman who knows what to do with her body and what it wants. But she's looked upon as a whore, much like today's view of slut shaming. Shakespeare increased and drastically changed the personality of both Gertrude and Ophelia. Gertrude as a lusty young woman and Ophelia as a weak-minded woman.
As one of the weakest characters in Shakespeare's plays, Ophelia is characterized as vulnerable and easily influenced. She follows her father's every command and does not have a say in her actions. Through this, readers can see that Ophelia is passive and defenseless. Due to the personalities of Ophelia and Gertrude, the readers of Hamlet can understand that women are portrayed differently than men. They are viewed as whores when they control their sexual desires, and weak when they're easily influenced. Shakespeare also brought assertive woman, or awareness to assertive women, through the character of Katharina. Readers can see that Katharina has gone through unfair treatment because she has a bold and confident character.
Shakespeare recognized the injustice between gender roles and mocked the society's standards by incorporating his female characters as society's ideal women. During his time period, gender roles were established, and changing these set roles were daring and bold. Although he did not completely stand up to gender inequality, he incorporated some of his ideas into his plays, and that was enough for his readers to notice the injustice among genders.
In 2013, the UN Women showed what society's true opinions of gender equality, women gender equality, that is, through top Google suggestions of women shouldn't, women cannot, women need to, or women should. The results are terrible. The outcomes coming up with women shouldn't work, women need to be put in their place, women can't be trusted, and more. 3 years later, we decided to see if these suggestions hold true, with the keywords, women shouldn't. It is 2016, and people across the globe still believe that women need to work. They can't work, actually, that they can't drive.
In Shakespeare's time, several hundred years ago, gender inequality was very prominent. Most women didn't even receive an education, and for the ones that did, they took an easier course of study than men. Along with the lack of schooling, in England, women could not vote and had very few legal rights. Even in universities like Cambridge and Oxford, women could not receive degrees until the 20th century. The most a common woman could hope for was to pick up basic education in reading and writing. However, in the upper classes, women did receive a better education, and a few of them performed very impressive feats in their life, such as Anne Bacon, who was able to translate 25 Latin sermons, and Queen Elizabeth, who ruled all of England during that time. However, apart from those exceptions, the women in the upper class did not fare much better. Their better education still did not allow them to become politicians or doctors or business people because they were women. And they did learn several languages, but they could not utilize them because they were women again, because they couldn't become politicians and business people because of it. So apart from the better education, the women in the upper class had the same problem as the common women.
Today, this issue is still prominent. In most countries, women aren't even allowed to be educated. In Saudi Arabia, women are not allowed to drive, and in the United States, women only make 82% of their male counterparts. In the workplaces, women are called controlling and pushy when they are being assertive. However, if men do the same, they are known as symbols of authority and are respected. In society, men are given an unfair advantage over women, and women are still being discriminated.
Shakespeare gives a lot on today's view of the natural world. Now women can be seen as the inequality, the difference between men and women. Another examples of how women were treated differently is how Juliet, how she was dropped immediately by her family when she refuses a marriage, and how Gertrude was always called a whore, and how shrews such as Katerina should always be tamed and controlled by her husband.
As Shakespeare's works such as Taming of the Shrew, Hamlet, and Romeo and Juliet, and more are being presented to a wider audience, a ripple is reverberating through society. The issue of women's equality is being brought into the light, and even though women have more rights than they did before, they're still being discriminated by society. By combining our efforts, this issue will be resolved.